Grace Kids, and welcome to our online worship service. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before starting our unit called Outrageous, I need you on your feet to worship.
I count on one thing, the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. And yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will. God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will for all my days. Oh yes, I will, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names that nothing can stand against. And I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names that nothing can stand against. And I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names that nothing can stand against. And I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names that nothing can stand against. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will for all my days. Oh yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will.
Last week, we finished our unit called Freeze Frame. We learned that whenever we face big problems in our life, that we shouldn't just focus on them. Instead, we should just keep focusing on Jesus. We should think about him, pray to him, and read his word. We shouldn't sink into doubt. Jesus cares about us and has power over all of our problems. This week, we are starting Artrageous. Did you know that we all have an artist inside of us? No, you didn't eat him for breakfast. He doesn't actually live inside of you with a paintbrush or a box of markers. That's just a fancy way of saying that God has put creative abilities inside all of us. During Artrageous, we're going to have a chance to unleash the artist inside all of us. We're going to be using all kinds of super fun art to tell stories from the Bible and picture the outrageous love that Jesus has for us. Before that, enjoy the Journey Today show with my two friends, Tim and Casey.
I'm okay.
Oh, hello everybody. Welcome to the Journey Today show. My name's Tim.
And I'm Casey. Hey Tim, why were you crying?
Oh, well, I was crying because you were crying. Why were you crying?
Well, I was crying because you were crying. Why were you crying?
Well, I was crying because you were... Wait. I don't know how this whole thing started, but to be honest, it felt kind of good.
Seriously, sometimes it's nice to just get a good cry in. In fact, that's exactly what everyone did in today's true Bible story. You see, there was a man named Lazarus who died, and everyone who knew him was incredibly sad.
That's right. Everyone bawled their eyes out. Except for Jesus.
Wait. No, Jesus cried too.
Wait, what? Jesus is God. What does he have to cry about?
That's a good question. And I think the best way to answer it is to read the story. So how about this? In just a second, press pause on the video. Then open your Bible and read the verses on the screen. When you're finished, we'll see you back here.
Isn't that one of the saddest starts to a story? I mean, Mary was crying, Martha was crying, Jesus was crying, the whole town was crying.
Seriously, there were so many people crying. They easily could have used up an entire box of tissues.
Yeah, and you know what? That gives me an idea for a little challenge. How about this? Let's race to see who can empty an entire box of tissues the fastest. Each box has the same number of tissues in it, and you can only pull one at a time. Whoever finishes last has to spin the wheel of misfortune and do whatever it says at the end of the episode. Are you ready for this?
You're on. Let's do it.
Shall we?
In 3,
2,
1, go!
It's going up! You don't stand a chance! Oh! Oh!
Wow!
Come on!
I got this! I think
Come on! No!
Oh! Oh no!
Oh, but there's more! Come on! Come on!
I'm losing it!
Come on! Only one at a time, remember!
Yes, you're right, you're right. Oh no, not the wheel of misfortune.
The wheel of misfortune! Okay, it's time to spin the wheel of misfortune. What's it gonna be today, Casey? Drink pickle juice? Take an ice bath? Maybe an egg on your head, perhaps? Let's find out. Oh, a pie in the face. At the end of this episode, you're gonna get a pie thrown straight at your face. Okay, but before that, let's clear off this desk. That challenge was a blast, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you get your consequence. But first, I want to point out a fun fact about the story we just read. Did you know that story has the shortest verse in the Bible? And it only has 2 words. It says, Jesus wept. Isn't that so cool to know that Jesus cried? Sometimes people think, I'm too old to cry. Or, I'm too tough to cry. Or, I'm too cool to cry. But it's not true. There's nothing wrong with being sad or crying. Jesus was a grown man, and no one is as tough or as cool as he is. Yet he cried. But Casey, here's what I wonder about. Why exactly do you think he cried? What exactly made him so sad?
That's a great question. The Bible doesn't say for sure why Jesus cried, but it gives us some pretty good clues. Jesus knows everything, and he knew Lazarus would come back to life. So he probably wasn't too sad that he was dead. Instead, Jesus started crying when he saw that everyone else was. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever started crying just because someone you love started crying? That's what happened to Jesus. Isn't that amazing? Jesus feels our sadness.
Yeah, sometimes when you feel sad, it's easy to think that you're all alone, but you're not. When you feel sad, Jesus feels sad with you. He's there for you, and he wants to hear from you. In fact, that's what today's Bible verse talks about. Take a look at this verse. My tears have been my food day and night. All day long, people say to me, where is your God? When I remember what has happened, I tell God all of my troubles. Psalm 42, 3 and 4. When the writer of this psalm says, "My tears have been my food day and night," he's saying that he's been crying all day long. He's incredibly sad about something. So what did he do about it? He told God about all of his troubles.
Hey, you know what? That makes me think of a question. Is there something making you kind of sad right now? What is it? Press pause
And discuss.
Something making you kind of sad right now. What is it? Press pause
And discuss.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you had some great conversation. Sometimes when you're sad, it's tempting to keep it to yourself, but you need to do what the writer did. Talk to a friend, talk to your parents, but especially talk to God. He wants to hear from you.
That's right. Jesus has compassion for you when you're sad, so you can cry out to him. You can tell him about all of your troubles and let him know what's making you sad. And if you're looking for a way to get your joy back, think about this. Jesus is the resurrection and the life. That means that Jesus has power over sin and death. And if you believe in him, when you die, you get to live with him forever in heaven, where there's no more sickness, no more death, and no more sadness.
And no more wheel of misfortune.
Yeah, that's right. But in the meantime, bye everybody! We'll see you next week!
Bye.
This is living. You've made
This is
it.
living. Can I have some paper towels?
Yes.
Everyone gets sad sometimes. Even Jesus got sad. But we don't have to keep sadness to ourselves. We can share those things with each other. We're going to do an activity right now that will help us with that. Before we start, I need you to get some tissues, some paper towels or napkins. I need you to also get some markers as fast as you possibly can. Make sure you get enough for your siblings and your parents to join you too. Do you think you could grab them in 20 seconds? I'll wait here and count to 20. Now that you're back, let's get started. We're going to begin by drawing a picture of something on a tissue that has recently made you sad. Maybe you got a bad grade on a test, or you got into an argument with your brother or sister. Think about this for a moment, and then draw something that has bothered you. It's helpful to share our sadness with each other, but in Psalm 42, verse 4, it tells us something even better to do. It says, "When I remember what has happened, I tell God all of my troubles." I have a challenge for you that's going to help you remember this verse. Take the tissue that you just drew on and head to a space where you have some room. Look up at the ceiling and place the tissue over your face. We're going to count to 3 and then blow your tissue up to God. 1, 2, 3. Watch to see whose tissue goes the highest in your family. This is a great reminder that we can and we should give our sadness over to God. Sometimes when you're sad, it's tempting to keep it to yourself, but you need to do what the psalm said. Talk to a friend, talk to your parents, but especially talk to God. He wants to hear from you. Jesus has compassion for you when you're sad, so you can cry out to him. You can tell him all about your troubles and let him know what's making you sad. And if you're looking for a way to get your joy back, think about this. Jesus is the resurrection and the life. That means that Jesus has power over sin and death. And if you believe in him, when you die, you get to live with him forever in heaven, where there's no more sickness, no more death, and no more sadness. Let's pray. Dear God, help us to give our sadness over to you. We know you love us and care for us. Help us to trust you with our troubles and to find joy in you.
Feel it in the air right now. It's all around, I see it everywhere. It's the power. Yeah, God's power. It's the power to move any star. It's the power to heal your broken heart. It's the power. Yeah, God's power. So don't hold back, no, don't hold still. 'Cause God is here and he is real. Take 4 steps to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it around and move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now take tiny little jumps forward to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps back, but you better look back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now freeze. And everybody clap your hands. Now stop. I feel it in the air right now. It's all around, I see it everywhere. It's the power. Yeah, God's power. It's the power to move any star. It's the power to heal your broken heart. It's the power. Yeah, God's power. So don't hold back, no, don't hold still. God is here and he is real. Take 4 steps to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it around and move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now take tiny little jumps forward to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps back, but you better look back. Let's do it all again right now. Take 4 steps to the left, to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it around and move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now take tiny little jumps forward to the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 jumps back, but you better look back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now freeze. And everybody clap your hands. Now stop.
Thank you for joining us tonight for our first week of Artrageous. We hope you'll join us next Wednesday at 6 for another night of worship. Have a great rest of your week, friends.